If you could read one book every single day for the rest of your life, do you have any book that you've come across that you'll be able to do that? I have. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the single book that I, who once said I will never have any favorite anything, now call my favorite book ever. Hey, my name is Kamga and I'm a writer, and on this channel I make videos about creative entrepreneurship, relationships, and personal development. I like to share stories about my personal experience, people that I know or I meet or read books about, and see how I can tie them into actionable steps that you can use on your personal journey. So if this is the first time that you're watching any of my videos, please subscribe to the channel and also click on the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you'll be able to see it. I have wanted to make a review of The Alchemist, but I did not feel it was right, and I did not feel I was ready to make the video. In the midst of everything that's happening in the world right now with the virus and people feeling lost and distraught and the anxiety and the fear, I felt like the only way I could consider the way the world moves and being able to take this time as energy to build is to consider Santiago the Shepherd Boy. The Alchemist is written by Paolo Coelho, and this particular copy, the 25th anniversary edition, my cousin gave me this book. I'm getting chills, just see, look at that. My cousin Juliet gave me this book when I was in Cameroon about 4 years ago. And I've read this book every single year since then. I've read it probably twice every year. And I read this book when I'm happy, read this book when I'm sad, and especially when I need direction in my life, when I feel like I'm losing track of where I want to be or I'm confused about what is going on. So I thought about reading quotes from the book, but this is one of those books that I hate to spoil. So I want to talk about this book. I want to talk about 5 lessons in the book, and I'm trying my best not to spoil the book because for me, whenever I read the book, even though I know the end, I still feel the same way at the end. I still cry at the end of the book. It's one of those beautiful stories that I cannot stop recommending this book. When this book was published, nobody wanted this book. Like, publishers did not want this book. They didn't care. They did not think it was a good enough story. And at some point, the first publisher who gave Paolo Coelho a chance basically sold him back the rights to his books and said, I don't want it. People are not buying this book. I don't think I should keep it. Paolo took this book and knocked at doors and by himself was selling it until he found another publisher who was willing to give him a chance. And there's a story, the preface explains that somebody brought it to the US or wherever, I don't know it was, before it grew organically. And I think it's among one of the top 10 most read books, best books of the world. And for me, this book beats every single self-development book. So what's the story about? The Alchemist is about Santiago, a shepherd boy, on his journey to discover his personal legend. And what is a personal legend? A personal legend is a thing, it's a goal, it's a mission that God, the universe, has put in you that only you can accomplish. It's that thing that you have to do, and that when you don't accomplish it, the universe directly mourns. It's like the miracle of your life, your existence, a thing that only you can do. On this channel, I don't know if you saw some of my videos, I used to talk about the fact that my goal is to tell people stories that only they can tell. And I still feel like I'm on this journey to discover what it is I want to do. For Santiago has this recurring dream. It's a dream that shows him something that he's like, or it shows him the pyramids. Or shows him the pyramids, and it's like he's never been to the pyramids. He's in this side on the Andalusian shepherd boy. He became a shepherd boy to discover the world. And as you read the book, you discover the whole journey of why he became a shepherd boy. And it opens up in a very critical point in the story where he's literally about to change his mind about his journey. And somebody shows up to help him. And I don't know how to tell this story without spoiling it. So let me just go straight to the point that I have, so that maybe at the end I would wrap it up without spoiling it, and I'll obviously put links for you to get the book, all right? Okay, let me get to the first point. The first lesson I learned from The Alchemist: be willing to do whatever it takes. Many people on the journey to accomplish their dreams are willing to only go as far as they feel that they're capable of doing. They don't want to actually do whatever it takes. Say you're starting a YouTube channel. You're afraid of putting out your first video. You have to be willing to put up that first video and accept that people are going to criticize. It's going to take a long time. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Santiago became a shepherd boy for a reason. And as you read the book, you would find out that that was him being willing to do whatever it takes. And it happens again a second time when he meets the crystal merchant. He's willing to take a job that sort of feels like he's wasting his time. Like, how many times have we been in positions where we have this goal, say, of making money or building a family, and then we find ourselves in a position where we're supposed to do something that seems menial. Like, you're supposed to get an entry-level job, and you're like, nah, I cannot start here. I'm this big guy, I've done these big things, why would I want to start below here? And the question is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish your goal? And when I see what Santiago did, and even the Englishman that he meets, Being able to do whatever it takes is what it will take to accomplish your goal. And I feel like that's one of the most powerful lessons I learned from this book every time I read it, which is I ask myself, okay, I'm blocked, I don't know where I'm going forward. Am I willing to do whatever it takes? And if I'm not, then it means that something has to change. Number 2 is one powerful lesson that is taught in the book. I keep saying powerful lessons, like every lesson is a powerful lesson. Read the omens and obey them. Somebody will hear the word omen and think about witchcraft and think about, like magic, and probably be like, oh, heretic, I'm religious, I don't believe in omens. Let me ask you this. Do you believe in coincidences? Do you believe in deja vu? Like, there are things that happen that you cannot explain with science that you need to be open to and actually accept as a sign that this is the direction you have to go. Have you ever happened to you when you're thinking about someone and you see them? Or when you're thinking about something and you're trying to find out, where did I live, where did I watch this video, and you see somebody that reminds you of that video? How often does it happen to you that you might be thinking of an idea and somebody shows up and asks you to actually help him with an idea that is very similar to yours? Most of the time, when we are on those personal journeys, the universe will conspire to actually help us. And if we don't listen to the omens, if we don't actually take those things that are signs from the universe that, hey, what you're doing is actually where you should be doing, keep going. It might seem very difficult right now, it might be difficult, but here's a tip, here's a small sprinkle of hints of what you should be doing. And because we are so wrapped up in ourselves and there's so much noise and we don't actually listen to these omens, we miss them. So the second point, the second powerful lesson from the Alchemist is we should be open to receiving these omens. And this means we should be willing to follow our gut. Do you have the feeling like what I'm doing is wrong? For me, very recently, it's been college. I came to the US and been thinking about going to college, and probably if you're watching this and you're here for the first time, I actually quit college. I might have to do a story time because I got to a point where I realized I didn't want to do it. And it's going to take a whole video to explain that particular thing because it's the third time I'm actually quitting college in my life. It's like I never learned my lesson. Number 3, this one will sound almost counterintuitive until you hear it. True love is conditional. Did that sink? True love is conditional. And what is the condition? The condition is that you don't sacrifice your personal legend for it. Many people think that when you get married or when you have children, you sacrifice your life for the kids. You sacrifice your goals for your spouse. And that is not true love. What I've learned from the Alchemist, from Santiago meeting the person who could connect with at the deeper level, was that she was willing to let him go, knowing that he is going to do something that is important for them to be together. And I know it sounds ideal and you may feel that way, but here's how it doesn't sound ideal in the real world. When you get married to someone, like I am married, and I don't know if you watched my video about marriage where I shared about things I wish I knew. When you get married to someone, there are expectations and there are values, and there's knowledge about yourself that they have and knowledge about yourself that you may have. If you have a goal, say to build a business, and you never tell your spouse that you have this goal, and you resent them for maybe having a child and then making you work at home, say you're a woman and you don't want to have a child right now because you really want to build your career as a PhD student and really get to a certain level, you don't tell your spouse, and that is your personal legend. You sacrifice your personal legend for love. That is not true love. If you sacrifice the thing you are meant to do and do something else, which is marriage and relationships and parenting, and think that that thing is more valuable, it will come back to bite you. True love is conditional. The condition is that you must fulfill your personal legend. If not, you would always have this sense of nagging unhappiness till the day you die. Number 4, watch out for beginner's luck. When Santiago started his journey, he met somebody who helped him out and had some explanation, and that's how he actually started learning about the language of the soul, like the language of the soul, which is the universal language. And the person he met talked to him about beginner's luck. Beginner's luck is this thing. Say you're starting a YouTube channel, right? Like for me, if you watch my very first video, I'm going to put a link somewhere in the description. My very first video has over 600 views, was the very first video. My videos now get about 73 views on average. And when I started that video, I had the momentum. People were like, oh, Kamga just moved to the US. Kamga has never made a video. Kamga is making a video now. There was that initial boost from the universe, which was, hey, you should be doing these videos. By the way, let's help you out and give you some taste of what you're going to get in the end. But then after beginner's luck, it falls. Santiago felt the same thing. Santiago lost everything. He had to start understanding and learning the language of the world, language of the soul, and actually get to the point to realize like losing all that was necessary for him to gain everything else that he gained. Even later on in the book, when he actually meets the Alchemist, he had to accomplish an unaccomplishable feat and actually believe that was possible, and feeling like if he did not do it, he had 3 days. He was literally going to die if he did not do it. What happened? he was able to speak the language of the universe, the language of the soul, and do this thing that blew away the minds of all these Arab generals who thought, man, this guy, who is this guy? What is this? Who is this alchemist? When you watch out for beginner's luck, when you start on a journey, you start a new project, you start a business, you're asking somebody out for the first time, or you get into a room and you meet somebody who actually looks like they want to talk to you, that's beginner's luck. That you need to follow that. You have to watch out for beginner's luck and prepare for the loss. When you start anything, it would seem maybe very daunting. Then when you take that first step, it seems very easy. And then it gets worse. So when you know these things, when you're aware of it on your journey, whether it's in a relationship or it's in a business or even in school or just life, you prepare yourself better for those times when you actually need the courage to keep going. Number 5. This one is very close to me because I actually have traveled. It says, you never know the value of your backyard until you travel around the world. And if you read The Alchemist, you know why at the end of the book you feel like, man, this guy had to do all this for this. There's so much about the things that we think we know ourselves, our own bodies, our own thoughts that we take for granted. That sometimes you need to leave yourself. Maybe you need to get sick. Maybe for me, I needed to leave Cameroon to sit now and think about the greenery and the lakes that I visited with my siblings and my dad's farm and all these things. I'm like, man, I miss this place. And by the time I go back there, the way I would treat the pictures I would be taking, the videos I would make, or how much I would breathe just the air, it's very different from the way I'm looking at things now. Sometimes we don't have to wait for that. It might be true. Like, you have to travel the world to understand. It's like the way you miss your partner when you're not there. Like, you can be together for so long that you get used to each other. Anybody who is in med school will tell you, third year, is it third or fourth year, when you're towards the end, you have a chunk of time where it's literally like, guys, relax, you're about to get to residency, it's going to be hell, just relax. And she'll watch movies and watch all these shows, and I had no idea what med school looked like. So I was like, why do you have so much time on your hands? Can't you do something productive? I don't know, knit a pullover or something, a sweater. Now I don't see her. Now she has nights, like now it's exhausting, she's tired, and it's going to be like that for a while. It takes you to go around the world, to go away from what is valuable to actually see the value. And that's what I discovered with Santiago the Shepherd Boy, about how he had to go around the world literally to find his treasure. Number 6. I said 5, but yeah, number 6 is the bonus point. Whenever I talk about the Alchemist, there is a cautionary tale in The Alchemist about accomplishing your personal legend. The book is about how the boy accomplishes his legend, right? But there are people in the book, actually one specific person called the merchant. The merchant represents every person. The lesson actually here is not everybody wants to accomplish their goal or will accomplish their personal legend. I know the book is a very powerful, passionate book about a boy who accomplishes his goal, but the merchant stands as a sore thumb of this is what life looks like when you're too afraid to accomplish your goal. When you worry so much about accomplishing it that you never set your foot to do it. The merchant has a personal legend and was able to clearly state, like, this is my personal legend. I wanted to do this for as long as I've been breathing, but I've decided not to do it because so and so. So not everybody will accomplish their legend. You might think that people are just, waiting for you to inspire them to go on and discover or start a business or start something. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes people are actually fine. Some people, when I say fine, it means like they made the decision that this is too much work. What I really want to do with my life, I would not do it. I will settle. Some people want to settle. The question is, are you one of those people? Like, that's the question I always ask myself when I think of the merchant is, am I choosing to do something to avoid following my personal legend? And I need to actually meditate and think about that to really come to terms with, am I on that journey and is it just difficult, or am I just procrastinating, and am I letting the resistance, Stephen Pressfield's resistance, push me away from where I should actually be? I think there's so much here with the merchant to represent how people don't accomplish those goals, and there's so much sadness when you hear him talk about it. So I didn't want to spoil the book, but there's some parts of the book that I would really want to read. It was a language of enthusiasm, of things accomplished with love and purpose as a part of a search of something believed in and desired. The prose in this book, the reason why I love this book and I recommend it as a personal development book, is because it's not written with instructions to tell you what to do, what not to do. It's a story. It's a story of a shepherd boy and characters that he meets. Paolo says this was his story. The reason why he was able to keep knocking at doors and meeting publishers and talking about his book is because he said this was his own story. He was a shepherd boy who had a story to tell, and he hung up to it. And this is the 25th anniversary edition that was done probably 5 years ago. So maybe there's a new edition, but I love this paperback edition. I will put a link to the thing there. And yeah, have you read The Alchemist? this is probably going to be the only review I make because I don't want to spoil this book, and I probably have spoiled some of it already. I feel like it's a book that has to be shared and talked about and discussed and just explored in a way that you find out that you're more powerful than you think you are. Because at the end of the book, when Santiago gets, what he gets, I always have tears. Like, I know it's going to happen, but I still feel the pain he had to go through to get it. So yeah, that's the end of my review / lessons I learned from The Alchemist / encouragement for you to get the book and read it. And if you haven't met yet, my name is Kamga Tchassa. On this channel, I make videos about creative entrepreneurship, personal development and relationships, and a lot of book reviews like this one. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right there. You can also hit the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you would see it. What do you think about my review? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think The Alchemist is an overrated book, underrated book? Let me know in the comment section. And if this is the first time we're meeting, I hope you can actually leave a comment and say hi. I like to respond. There's a playlist here of books that I recommend creatives should read. It's been a long time since I did a book review, so I'll be adding this video to that playlist. You can watch other videos there. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I really appreciate you showing up. And if you like this video, please like it. See you next week. Bye.